I love what Kathleen Norris wrote in the introduction to her book, Amazing Grace. It's a collection of stories and essays about ways that Norris has brought the gospel into dialogue with her life. For her, the challenge was around words. She wanted to find ways of speaking for herself religious words that had become abstract and even threatening to her. Words like salvation and blood and revelation. They carried emotional weight from her childhood and family history. Norris says that even the word Christ had become inaccessible to her. It seemed like a code word Christians used when they couldn't think of anything else to say. Anyway, after 20 years away from the church, Norris set out to understand such words for herself and to reclaim her faith, scary vocabulary and all. She names her grandmother as a guide. Her grandmother was a woman of faith who was, as the saying would have it, no fool. I was an unruly child, Norris says, but one penetrating look from her, one sharp word, even an emphatic, exasperated, well, was enough to make me mind, to bring me back to myself and my right relation to others. I learned from her that this coming to my senses, this realigning of true relationship, might serve as a definition of living faith. Not a list of things I believe, but the continual process of learning and relearning what it means to love God, my neighbor, and myself. Norris found ways to understand the words of Christianity, not from a book or from an expert, but by speaking them for herself, in the presence of family and church and Jesus Christ, whom she went back to meet and came to know, not as someone who lived once in Galilee, but as someone who lives now in all believers. Norris says now that Jesus Christ saved her life, her husband's life, her marriage. She can say it because she went back to learn and relearn what Jesus meant to her and how to love him, her neighbor, herself. Today's story invites us into that process, that continual process of learning and relearning who Christ is and what he means to us. We begin the journey in an empty tomb, encountering things that may frighten us, words that threaten, a commission we aren't sure we want. But we are also shown the way to one who has endured all things fearful and painful, who has triumphed over them, who has the ability to save us and to make us whole. Christ is waiting for us to meet him, waiting for us to help him change the world. And if that brings you more anxiety than joy today, it's okay. You can trust me when I say that you aren't alone. And besides, it's not the end of the story.